Marcus back again with another one. This one is gonna be about religion and how religion influenced slavery or the actions of slavery in Africa. Um, Basically, there's the sons of Noah that was cursed by Ham. That was cursed by Noah. Like, subscribe. This is the stations bringing to you once again another truth to be told, because my thing is all about truth. I'm not saying that we should take this personal or turn it into some kind of battery situation. That's not what I'm doing. I'm just bringing truth, and I'm just bringing information based on not my truth, but information of truth that is been written by the authors and the events that took place that influenced slavery. No, I didn't create. Of course, I didn't. These are none of my writings. So I'm just basically, how should I say, sharing the information to show how slavery actually took place, as I would say, the New World or in Africa, and it started from way, way back when. Now, like, subscribe, leave comments, share. Uh, Let me know how you guys gonna. But as I said, keep the algorithm going, because, like, when you give me the likes, it gets spread out to other people, other channels. More people get to see what I'm putting forth. Anyway, so let's get started. So what we're gonna do here, we're gonna start with the sons of Noah, because what I want to go from timeline. I'm going from timeline. As we know, the Bible don't really have a date, but it does kind of give you a blueprint of how things had fall in line. Um, as you can see, I think I'm gonna do that a little later. I want to show you guys some examples of how this stuff was spread out. So, you know what? Let me do it right now. I'm gonna do that right now. Let's see. I'm gonna add a page, and I'm gonna type little hand image, and we're gonna go with. Let's click on this. I think this is a good picture. Actually, this is a good picture. All right, let's go back. So I just wanted to make sure I get that. Okay. All right, let's get started. Okay, so this conversation is about how religion influenced Africa. Okay, and the reason why I'm doing it is because it's a lot of false information out there, and I think people need to, when people talk about certain things, they leave out how certain events or what causes the events or why certain things are happening. Specific group of people, or basically explain why certain people are experiencing certain things, and also the result of those, and what causes those people to also act upon, or the result of certain behaviors that causes certain people to act a certain way. So with that said, let's move forward into it. We're going to start from the Bible, because the Bible, I think, is the blueprint to slavery. Not that it's the main cause, but it's one of the influences, or I would say the main influence to a specific kind of enslavement. Okay? All right, let's go. So we're going to start with Noah's sons, right? And we're going to read from, I think it's chapter 9, verse 18. And then we're going to read, and Noah and the sons of Noah that went forth out of the ark were Shem and Ham, Japheth, and Ham is the father of Canaan. These are the sons of Noah, and of them was the whole earth overspread. So basically, this is just when the ark got landed, and they probably started, I would say, relaxing and started to like explore the land. Or they were stationed there for quite a while. They was setting up camp basically. All right, so let's go into the curse. So the curse is where this whole thing started. This whole slavery mentality for African people, this is where it started. Now, I know y'all probably saying, how does that connect to slavery, right? Just follow me. You guys are gonna get it. It's gonna come together, and you're gonna see how. But I'm gonna give a quick synopsis. So the quick synopsis is the reason why the Bible is part of, well, I would say the main influence to African slavery is because it, even though it happened since, even though the book seems to don't have a date, and we're talking years ago, um, based on the graphic of how the slavery happened, and the some of the the choice of, how should I say, the way how some of the people was treated during slavery, as well as the reasoning behind it, it kind of correlates with what the Bible says. You know what I'm saying? So that's the reason why you got to use the Bible to kind of basically explain how the Bible took the leading role to enslave African people. So let's do it. Now, after they already landed, the ark already landed and everything, everybody got settled. They were trying to, basically chilling and living their lives. Now, moving forward, this is verse 20, right, of chapter 9. And Noah began to be a husband, and he planted vineyard. Vineyard is more like, it could be grapes, it could be berries, it could be cherries, but whatever kind of vineyard it was, it's you could make wine with it, right? And he drank of the wine, and drank, and was drunken, right? And he was uncovered within his tent, and Ham, the father of Canaan, saw nakedness of his father. So Ham saw the nakedness of his father because he made a vineyard, which is like, fruits or berries, whatever, to make wine. And his father was drunk, knocked out. I guess he was naked, and Ham saw him naked. Now, Canaan is the son of Ham, so just to, so you guys don't get confused, Canaan was a baby at that time, I would say. So, after he saw his father naked, he told his two brothers, which means they wasn't around, but he told them. And Shem and Japheth, which is his two brothers, I think Ham's supposed to be the youngest. Ham and Japheth, which is the two oldest, I think Japheth is older than Shem, I'm not sure, took a garment and laid it upon both of their shoulders and went backwards. So basically, they put the garment they both side by side, and they both put the garment around them, and they walked backwards. And they saw not their father's nakedness, And Noah woke up. So, they walk backwards and they cover their father so they don't see him naked, which is a respectful thing to do. I'm assuming Ham, let's say Ham was probably in his teens, like late teens. Let's say he's probably like 18, 19. Let's say he's about 18, 19. Let's just go with that assumption because we don't know exactly how old he was. But let's assume he was like 18, 19. Like he could have been 20, 21, you know what I mean? He could have been a young boy. Anyway, and Noah woke up of his from his wine and knew that his younger son had done unto him. So most likely the man told him what happened. They told Noah what happened. And I guess, of course, Noah wasn't happy about that because he was shamed by his own son. Um, and he said, "Cursed be Canaan, servants of servants shall be unto his brethren." So, brethren is his brothers, which is Shem and Japheth. Ham is the youngest brother, which is from Shem and Japheth. Shem, and then Ham had his son Canaan. I think Ham had his first son before Japheth and Shem. This is why he's speaking to um, Ham as he's speaking to Ham, cursing his son because his son was Ham already had a young boy, a young born son. No, Ham's son was still young. He probably was still a baby. Maybe he was like 2 or 3 because I think they was selling for like what 40 days, 40 nights. So um, damn, yeah, they had to be older than that. His son had to be old enough by then, you know. So because I think if during the story, I think they had a baby when he was in the ark. I'm not sure. So his baby had to be about 40 years old. Anyhow, the story is kind of confusing, so we're not going to focus on the confusion stuff right now. Let's just focus on the curse. So after Noah cursed Ham, which he cursed his sons, right? And he said he's going to be servants of servants shall be unto his servants of servants unto his brethren. All right, let's keep going. Shem, blessing and Noah's death. So Noah has passed, right? He said, "Blessing to be the Lord of Shem and Canaan shall be his servant." So Noah is giving blessings to Shem. And Noah told Shem, "Blessings to the Lord. Let the Lord bless Shem, and Canaan shall be servants to Shem." Okay. And then God shall enlarge Japheth, and which I think Japheth was still young, that's why he said enlarge. So I think enlarge in the definition of Japheth, when Japheth grew up and become a man and start having children, and he shall dwell in the tent of Shem. So Shem most likely is the oldest son. So that means Japheth is the second to Shem, I would say. And Shem should live. Japheth gonna live in the tent of Ham, which means they're gonna live together or they're gonna live amongst each other. And Canaan shall be the servants of Japheth. So the two brothers, which is Shem and Ham, Canaan is gonna be servants to Japheth. Now Canaan is only one son of Ham. It's kind of, like I said, we're not going to focus on the confusion because we don't want to confuse everybody. But just keep that in mind. There's only one son. All right, let's go. And Noah lived after the flood 350 years, and all the days of Noah 950 years. And he died. All right, so we're going to keep going. So we in chapter 10 now. All right, in chapter 10. Now these are the generations of the sons of Noah: Ham, Sheth, Ham, and Japheth. Okay, so Ham is the middle child. Japheth should mostly be the last child. And unto them was sons was born after the flood. Now, I mean, I don't want to go into. I guess I'll do that on another time frame, because remember now, my whole goal to this is the Bible influenced slavery and to enslave a specific group of people, as well as, I guess some of it was naturally humane to treat them a certain way, but the Bible also described how to treat these slaves to a certain degree. But we're going to talk about how they treated the slaves another day, because that's a whole nother long story. But this also, me naturally for me, I don't really buy the story. I'm just basically exposing how the Bible is played a big role of this, basically dismantling humanity and the society and the socialism for how we should be able to work and live amongst each other. Right? It bring a lot of disparities. That's just my defense. Right? People don't have to agree with me. I'm not trying to tell them about to agree with me. That's just how I see it. The son of Japheth, Gomer. I'm not gonna read all the names. I'm not gonna do all of that. So Japheth had above, let's see, one, two, three, four, five, six, seven. Japheth had 7 sons. So Japheth had 7 sons, and those sons had sons, and you know, now remember, Canaan. I mean Ham's son Canaan is being cursed to be a servant of Japheth. He didn't say what kind of how much of his son. He just said Japheth. So any offspring of Japheth is good. They're going the curse of Ham kids, Ham generation, gonna be servants to Japheth kids, no matter how many sons he have, right? No matter how many sons Japheth have, his sons, Ham's sons, is gonna be servants to no matter how many sons Japheth had. It didn't give a time frame. It didn't say when. It didn't say how long. It didn't say how to treat them. It just said they're gonna be servants. All right, let's keep going. So I'm gonna skip Ham for a little bit. We're gonna go to um, Seth. I mean Shem. Sorry, Shem. The Shemites. So, and the reason I'm skipping Ham, I'm gonna do Ham last. But the reason I'm skipping Ham, I'm going to Shem, because I want to make sure everybody understand that the 2 sons, Shem and Japheth, is gonna be the overseers for Ham. And I want to say so. Japheth had 7 sons. Shem had one, two. Let me see. Shem had the father of all Shem children. Let me see. Shem is the father of the children of Eber. So Japheth, the elder, even in him were children born. So I guess they had another son named Eber. It seems like I didn't know that actually. Anyway, the children of Shem. So it's one, two, three, four, five. So Shem had 5 children, right? They didn't say there's girls or boys, but Shem had 5 children. Japheth had 7, and it looked like they had another son, another brother. Let's see this. Unto Shem also the father of all the children of Eber. I think Eber is the mother, brother of Japheth, the elder. Okay, so let's focus. So yeah, so Shem had about 5 kids. Japheth had 7, and they all had offsprings. Now let's go to Ham. Now, as we know, remember we said Ham is going to be the servant to Japheth and Shem, so the Hamites, right? So let's go. Now Shem, the Hamites, the son of Ham, he had Cush, Mazah, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4. Now Canaan, so Shem had 4 sons. Canaan, well, I think supposed to be the first one, and that's their lineage, right? And now let's go into where he said, and Cush begat Nomad, and he begat to be the mighty one on the earth. He was the mighty hunter of the Lord. Therefore it was said, and even though Nomad and mighty hunter before the Lord, and the beginning of the kingdom of Babel and Iraq and Akkad and Calneh in the land of Shinar. Out of the land went to Ashur and built the Naviah and the city word. So if you really think about it, Ham's children did a lot of great things. When you read the Bible, it seems to be like Ham fell in the line of success when it comes to building and becoming, you know, doing a lot of structures, like structures reasons, right? Even going to basically, being more closer to God and stuff like that. 'Cause you see, that's my understanding, but we're not gonna get into that. That's not what we will be focusing on. Now Canaan had kids as well. And Sodom and Gomorrah, these are the sons of Ham. After their families. So, all right. So that's a long lineage right there, right? So let's do this now. Now that we understand where the curse came from, right? The curse started with Ham seeing his father naked and made fun of him because he was naked. His brothers covered up their father backwards, not looking at their father, and the father was told about what happened, and he told Ham all his sons, no, the sons of Canaan, which means the son. Now, this is the thing. The reason why I wanted to count out all the sons is this, because Ham had 4 sons. He had Mizraim, Cush, and Fat, right? Canaan was the first son, right? So Cush, Mizraim, and Fat, God only said he's going to curse Canaan. The question is it just Canaan, or is it all the sons of Ham? You know what I'm saying? Because he didn't specifically say, I mean, he did say to curse the sons of Canaan. I guess it's just Canaan, because um, right here, well, we got to go back. We got to go back. Okay, so yeah. So right here, when God said, I bless, when he said he blessed Shem, and Canaan shall be his servant, when he blessed Japheth, he said Canaan. He didn't say all of Ham's sons. He didn't say Ham's sons, right? He just said Canaan. Just to break it down a little bit, he did say after he wake up from his slumber, from being drunk and everything, he said he cursed Canaan, and a servant of servants they shall be unto his brethren, right? Now let's move forward. Let's go back down to all the names. So when we go to Hamites, if you notice, they kind of separate Canaan from all his other brothers. So Canaan got Bagat, Sadin, his firstborn, and Hath. That's two sons or two kids, right? He had two kids, and the Jubasit, and Amaret, and the Grasites, right? So that's one, two, three, four, five. So that's five sons Canaan had. And those sons went on and having more kids. Actually, no, he had more than five. So Canaan had begat, had, and I think that's Jebusite, and then Amorite, and the Gerasite, and Havith, and Arkit, and Sinit, and the Avidite, and Samurite, and Hamathite. Oh. Okay, so that's a lot of kids. My boy had a lot of kids, baby. Ham was not playing around. I mean, Canaan was not playing around. He was spreading them seeds, and they spread abroad. And the Canaanites. All right, so basically, he had about, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Damn, Canaan had like 12 sons or 12 children. Let me say it correctly. So Canaan had about 12 children. That's a lot. And those 12 children went on and had more children. All right. So let's move forward. I kind of stall a little bit, but let's move forward. So let's back check real quick. Noah cursed Ham because Ham saw him naked, right? Due to the fact that Ham saw Noah naked, he cursed Ham's son, which is Canaan, and he said he's gonna be servant to his brethren, which is Seth and Japheth, right? Seth and Japheth had multiple children. Ham now had multiple children as well, but the son of Canaan would be the only son of Ham that's gonna basically be cursed. His whole lineage basically is gonna be cursed. The whole lineage of Canaan is gonna be cursed, right? Not the other sons, right? Now I'm just putting in the assumption. This is assumption. What if Canaan passed away before he had children? Would the curse have passed on to other brethren, or for Canaan or Ham's sons, or it would have just died with Canaan? That's just a hypothetical question I have. If somebody could answer that in the question, I guess you guys pass the answer in there. But if not, then it is what it is. That was just a hypothetical question. It's not really that serious. But anyway, let's move forward. Now that we see where the whole cursing idea came from, it started from the Bible, right? The same curse in the Bible from Noah to Canaan is the same curse that's in the Torah, that's in the Apocrypha, that's in the Septuagint, that's in the Ethiopian Bible. Also, that's in the Quran. That's in the Quran, right? All these books, which is part of the Christianity, the Quran, which is Muslim, they all have Jewish book, the Torah book, all of them. They all says the same thing. Okay, Noah cursed Ham for seeing him naked. Well, he cursed Ham's son Canaan for seeing him naked. Canaan had multiple children, multiple, and Canaan's supposed to be a servant to Shem and Japheth, which is his older brothers. Okay, let's move forward. All right, so let's move forward now. Um, I want to go here. Now, the reason why I pulled this up, you guys can go, as you guys can see the link, you could do all the reading. I just want to pick out the paragraph that I really just want to focus on. All right, so as you can see, this is from Law Journals. Africa Diaspora History Analyst. So both religion initiates sets guidelines for master-slave relationships rather than the opposite slavery throughout, with Islamic fostering relatively harmonious relationship with the sub-Saharan Africa slave from the 9th century AD. Now you can also go back to the 4th century AD as well, when the Muslim initially really, as I would say really initially started it. Now, the only reason why they're giving you the 15th century is because of based on the search that I made. But if you want to search when did the Muslims or the Arabics started enslaving Africans, it would probably say around the 4th, I would say between the 4th and the 6th AD, or between the 3rd to the 6th AD century, right? Now, as you can see again, they said the role of the Christian churches started in the 15th century when the European powers initiated contract and commercial activities such as the sub-Saharan Africa. Remember, we just read where the Muslims, right, took the initiation to use religion to enslave the sub-Saharan Africans. To continue throughout the following countries, organized religion played a leading role in the development of supporting the legislative transatlantic slave. No, yeah. So basically, it's just saying that how Christianity took a big part, played a big part, or played the leading role, right, in supporting the development of the transatlantic slave trade. So it's influence, basically what it's saying is influence the idea to actually carry out the slave trade idea. It was no longer, let's get prisoners, right? Prisoners, I mean, I know some people are going to say slavery. No. It's not the same thing. When somebody specifically tell you you're going to be a slave, it's different. It means that you're going to be a slave is somebody you have to be used for something physically. You basically a property of whatever or whoever you're dealing with. You could be a prisoner. Now, when you say prisoner, because we're not talking about prisoner of war, we're talking about slavery, right? What people do, they will say people who's also in prison is also slave. No, it's not the same thing. No, it's not, because somebody go to prison, they don't technically do the same thing that a slave would do or get the same treatment that a slave would get. Because even prisoners have some kind of regulation to rules of how you treat them, right? They still have some kind of humanity of how you treat them. A slave don't, based on the biblical term and based on the actual slave trade that happened, It's almost like there was no rules, right? And they was making them up as they go, if you want to say that. But it was different, when in the understanding of how you had slave trade, the people that they was enslaving, they didn't consider them to be humans. They considered them to be monkeys or some kind of animal to control. And they was also treating them like animals because they had them like cattle, or as you want to say, a herd of sheep or whatever, and they treat them that way. Like they physically treated them that way, right? They even started breeding them that way, right? So they didn't see African people as humans. They literally took away the human part of it and put them in the place of an animal structure, right? Like dogs and lions and cats and cattle and donkeys and horses, right? Yes, that's what they did. You know what I'm saying? Now, the Bible itself is telling you what they did to this group, what they're going to happen to this group of people. And here comes Christianity and the Muslim community, or people saying like, this is what we're going to do, or this is what these people are meant to be, so we're going to treat them this way because the book said so, right? All the Canaanites, any lineage of the Canaanites is going to be put to slavery. Now, what I want to show you guys is this. The reason why I want to show you guys this, where was it? Right, so we're going to highlight this. We're going to blow it up. So as y'all can see, when the ship landed, aka Noah's Ark, right? They say it's supposed to land somewhere over here, right? Not Iran, but somewhere over there by Turkey, in the mountains, somewhere up in this area right here, right? Somewhere around here. Because the Tigris Rivers is like somewhere down in this area as well. Now, as you can see, this is Japhet. Japhet, which is, I guess you want to say white people or Caucasians, if that's what y'all want to call them. Japhet seems to be the Caucasian people. And Shem supposed to be the Asiatic people, right? And Ham supposed to be the African people, right? Now, Canaan, the land of Canaan, supposed to be up in the part Jordan, also where Israel is at. Like, what do you call it? Lebanon and Israel. That's what Canaan's supposed to be. But, well, that's what it is now. Let me say it that way. That's what Canaan is now. Now, based on the Bible description of what the land of Canaan or the land of Ham, Ham moved to Africa, right? He went from the Middle East. Ham went west. Shem went eastward, and Japhet went northward, right? So now that we have the map, and we see how the sons of Canaan separate, like the sons of Noah went in different directions, right? We see how they went. So due to the Middle East, the entire continent of the Middle East, as well as going towards eastwards, which is like Asia, the Asiatic location, is all Shem. And then you have the north side, which is Japhet, go all the way to England, to Russia, back that way. And then going towards Africa, going towards South America, North America, it's supposed to be Ham. Okay? So I just want to make sure you guys got that. And we don't, so we don't get confused. Now, let's try to, so we already got how religion influenced the war. We already got what type of people are supposed to be enslaved or become servants of, his two brothers. And we are now going into, I know we're going to push the, oh, wait. Yeah, so we already went through the biblical thing. So now we're gonna go through. All right, all right. So this is a letter from King Leopold II. He sent a letter out um, to Belgium, his colonial missionaries in 1983. Now, I'm not going to read the whole thing. I'm just going to break down the parts where he's not the only one, but he's one of the colonizers that colonized Africa. And as we know, Africa didn't look the way it look now. It was more. There wasn't so many different countries in Africa. It had like more like smaller land masses, right? Okay, so he said, Reverence, fathers and dear compatriots, the task that is given to fulfill every delicate and requires much tact, right? So he's basically saying that when going into Africa, he's talking about Africa, right? Going into Africa, the task that he have is gonna be, it's gonna take a lot of work. It's gonna be complicated. So you're gonna be, you have to be tactical. You can't just go in like some, bully. You can't just go in with just a peacemaker prize. You gotta have some. You have to basically go in with some skills or come up with some idea to make yourself fit in with this, with so you can get success to do what you want to do. All right, you will go certainly to evangelize, but evangelization must inspire above all Belgium interests. Your principal objective in our mission in the Congo is never to teach. Now, this is probably going into the Bible now, okay? Is never to teach the niggers to know God. Now, at this point in time, they said Ethiopia had already got introduction with the Bible. And this is before Christ. This is like the Old Testament era. And Ethiopia was on the eastern side. By the time when the white people, Caucasians start coming, the colonists start coming in. There was more on the western side of Africa, or the northern, like not the north, but the western side, even on to the south. While Ethiopia was more up towards like northern, I mean, more to like northern eastern side of, middle to the northern eastern side of Africa, right? Which is also known as, they could say, well, that's how big Egypt was at one point. But anyway, we're not talking about that. We're more focusing on the conquering of the slaves, right? Or Africa as slavery, right? Now, he said, I'm going to go over it again. Your principal objective in the mission in Congo is never to teach the niggers to know God. This they know already. I'm going to repeat that one more time. Your principal objective in the mission, on the mission, in our mission in Congo, is to never teach the niggers to know God. They know this already. Now, he already using the God word. So, does that mean they know about religion specifically? Because when Caucasian came out, to Africa, they had Christianity. Remember, prior to them invading Africa, the Vatican was pushing Christianity throughout the world. There was we had a Christian war going on, and you either had to lie down, basically either lie down. Basically, you either got to be a Christian or die. You know what I'm saying? Cause any religion outside of Christian, it was paganism, and they was getting rid of you, right? Now coming to the era of like 1400, 1200. This is after Christ. 1914, 1912. I would say 1912, I would say about 1912, right? Now this is 1883, but I'm just kind of showing how what Caucasian was already implementing resources and trading with African people before this whole slave trade thing started. There was peacemaking. Yeah, they might have some little scramble wars, stuff like that, but they were also doing trade. There was no slavery in the process at the moment in time, right? There was no such thing as, oh, we're gonna buy. I mean, there was always some kind of slave, trade type situation, but not in the context of the Atlantic trade slave. It wasn't the same thing. The slavery that was there before was more of like, people who have lower class citizens or whatever it is, they would use them as collateral to trade for goods or whatever it is. But there wasn't traded in the context of like I can treat you however I want to treat you. They still had some kind of humanity because they was human beings. They were treated like human beings, right? The Atlanta trade slave was not a human being slave concept prior to the Atlantic trade slave. It wasn't the same thing. It was completely different, right? So let's move forward. So he said they know God already. Now what kind of God is they talking about? They speak and submit to Amunga and Nazambi, one Zakumba, and what else I don't know. So basically, what Leopold is saying is that the African people don't follow Christian religion, but they have some understanding, or they have their own gods that they're looking to. So they have some kind of understanding of how they're supposed to function in the society, how they're supposed to treat each other. They had like, you should not sleep with your, they had respectful things to do. They basically had a layout of how to still live in a society with some morals, right? So it's not like they were just savages. But guess what? They described them as savages, okay? Anyway, let's keep going. And I want people to understand that because people always speak on African people as if like prior to slavery they were just savages. They didn't have no God belief. They didn't have moral behavior. They didn't have a structural family design. No, they had a lot of these things. It's just that African people used to really follow natural, naturalistic way of living, right? Now let's move forward. Continue from where after he speaks about the African gods, right? They they know not to kill, to sleep with someone else's wife, to lie, and to insult, and to insult is bad. Now think about it. Those things are common sense, honestly. I don't care where you are in the world. You're gonna know to say something to somebody, it will hurt your feelings. If a man have a woman, because most likely back in the day, if you sleep with a woman, she's automatically your wife, or you have kids by her, she's automatically your wife, or you could go to the family member and do some kind of transaction, and then she'll become your wife. But you also know not to sleep with another man's wife. You know not to lie because that can cause problems. So these people had a moral way of living. You know, they didn't live a savage. Those don't sound like savage people to me, right? And they know not to kill. So of course they know not to kill. These are common things. These are common things. Only Christian people know how to do these things. To sleep with someone's wife, not to lie, not to insult, and they know these things bad. Now let's go on. Have courage to admit it. You are not going to teach them what they know already. Basically, they want to brainwash them. Basically, he's talking about brainwashing. You got to change everything that they know. Change everything that they know and teach them something else. Your essential role is to facilitate the task of administration and industrial, which means you will go to interpret the gospel in the way it will bring the best to protect your interests in the part of the world. For these things, you will have to keep watch on distinct disinterest or savage from the riches. Now, this part is important. He's telling them to not teach them the way of God or the Christian the Christianity that they know, that God is, mighty strong. He can give blessings and all that good stuff. He said, keep all that good stuff out of their mouth. Keep all that good education. They never came across our God before. We're gonna change the way they see God, but we're only gonna teach them the slavery part of God, the part where their race supposed to be enslaved, right? And not only that, you're basically gonna brainwash them, take away their knowledge that they have. The question is how he's gonna do it. That's the question, right? Now you're gonna teach them gospel songs of the Bible and make them forget about the things or twist their mind from what they know already. So you're bringing in a whole new concept of religion to them when they don't follow the religion that they do, but they want to twist it into a negative. All right. And he called them savages. So he said you have to keep watch on their disinterest or savage form of richness. Now, he now he's admitting that the Caucasians, the colonizers, is coming in with a savage mentality for richness. That is plenty, right? For them to take home and bling bling with their peoples. Right? He's admitting that they have a savage mentality. Now let's keep it moving. Now, in their underground, to avoid that, they get interested in it and make so basically he basically saying he don't want them to know that their their interest is the gold. Yeah, the gold stuff, diamonds, I think they said they wanted to use them to make tire, like anything that Africa have that they can use for their own benefit. They don't want them to know what their agenda is. So when you go talk to them, you show some interest, but don't make them feel like this is all you need. Focus on the things that you don't want and befriend them so they don't get confused or think you're just trying to take away everything that they have or the most precious things that they have. All right. So also too, he said, and make you murderers and competition and dream one day to overthrow you. So basically, you guys get the gist of it, right? So he basically saying, don't let them know the savageness and the richness of the colonizers that they have mentally, as well as avoid their interests to the people or the society of the African people, to make them murderers or to make the African things that they're going to overthrow them sometime in the future. Don't give them the idea that we double crossing them to take advantage of them in the future. Now let's go into the part where he went heavy with the Bible and how he's using Christianity to really confuse the African people, to basically put them in slave or basically conquer the country. So now let's go into it. He said, your knowledge of the gospel will allow you to find texts ordering and encouraging your followers to love poverty, like happier are the poor because they will inherit heaven, and it is very difficult for the rich to enter the kingdom of God. Now that's a quote from the Bible, deliberately, right? I'm going to read it again. The colonizers, King Leopold in his letter was reading to the colonizers, telling them how to use and abuse the African people, right? How to turn them into slaves due to the Bible, right? He said, your knowledge of the gospel, which is the Bible, allow you to find texts in order and encourage your followers to love poverty. The followers are the African people. And the quotes you're going to use out of the Bible is for them not to know richness. Okay, not for them not to seek the, you know, the power of the gold and the diamond and stuff like that. So he said, "Happy are the poor because they will inherit in heaven." Meaning that you're gonna be poor on earth until you go to heaven. So while you're here on earth, you shouldn't be rich, right? And it will very and it very difficult for your rich to enter in heaven. So if you get rich on earth, you can't enter in heaven. But they're rich, so they don't want to go to heaven. So why do they want to get rich? But that's the confusing part. The part that's bubbling me is for the Africans to actually give up their gods and you know start following something that don't make sense to them. Or you know what I'm saying? And I mean, they was being forced anyway, so I can't say they literally just fell for it. But in some cases, they did fell for it because they came in with some friendly type of gesture to influence the African people to think that this type of God thing is the right way to go. And they influence a whole lot of them to basically believe that this is the religion that's better than their religion, right? Now, where was he? Where was I? I forgot where was that. All right, and then continue from where he say, which enter in the kingdom of God, you have to detach. You have to detach from them and make them disrespect everything which gives them courage to affront us. That's another fire line right there. I mean, don't get me wrong. King Leopold is pushing mad doomsday conversation. Like he's saying mad savage mentality things, right? He said you have to detach them from you have to detach them from them and make them disrespect everything which gives them courage. I mean, how do you do that though? If you look at Christianity, the people today, turn the eye, somebody slap you, turn the cheek, it's like somebody, hurt you or they do something, you're gonna just forgive them. You know what I'm saying? It's like that's what Christianity does. It's like forgive you. Person could do you horribly. All you're gonna do is say forgive them. They could take all your money. You're gonna say, you know what, God gonna bless you, God gonna deal with you. I forgive you what you have done. But what you want suffering. Okay, so let's keep going. Okay, so he said, I make reference to their music. Well, that's a mystic. Make reference to the mystic system and their war fetish. Oh, and the war fetish. Okay, so mystic and war fetish. I make them make. Okay, I make reference to their system and their war fetish, warfare protection, which they pretend not to want to abandon, and you must do everything in your power to make them disappear. Oh, so he's okay. I see it now. So he's saying any kind of like they're talking about the voodoos or something and all that different type of stuff, and anything that they do have mentally like for war, like if they have any war spirit or warrior mentality, he's basically saying, try to draw them away from those type of energy, those type of power, right? Let's keep going. Your action will direct essentially to the younger ones, for they won't revolt when they recommend that the priest is contradictory to the apparent teaching. So now they're focusing on to teach the children to brainwash the children, which is even like if you think about it, that's what we do today. You know, when we talk about like LGBT is pushing these agendas onto the children when they could just deal with it as an adult. But they're pushing these negative things on the children because they know children are very influenced. So they even though they might not follow it, but the bottom line is they're taking in some influence from it, so they might believe it. Or if you try to deter them from it, they have it mentally in their mind as an option or a way to think or live. So, so they're focusing on the children now. The children have to learn to be obey and to learn to obey what the missionary recommend. Who is the father of the soul? You must sincerely insist on their total submission and obedience. Avoid developing the spirit in the school. Teach students to read and not reason. So basically, teach them what you want them to know and not be able to conversate about what they know or question what they're reading. That's like when you read the Bible, you said, don't question the Bible, just believe. Don't question the Bible, just believe. When you get a contract, they're like, oh, just read this line. But you don't need to read the whole thing. All of them just said the same thing. Da, 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 da. No, you got to read the contract. You know what I mean? You got to read the Bible. The Bible is like a contract. It's the same thing. If it can make people do things that they don't need to do. It can manipulate people. It can brainwash people. It can control people. So you have to read it to make sense. It have to make sense. You have to ask questions. So here basically saying we're gonna brainwash the children and tell them don't ask no question, just believe, right? And that's what a lot of people do today. You talk to them about the Bible or anything, all they say is believe, 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 believe. That even if it doesn't make sense, they're gonna say just believe, right? Now, Mr. Where was I? Yeah, there. Okay, now continuing. There, dear portraits, are some of the principles that you must apply. You will find many other books which will be given to you at the end of the conference. Evangelize the niggers, evangelize the Enners, right? Evangelize the Enners so that they stay forever in submission of the white colonists. Now he's telling you, like, dude, how y'all could not understand that this is what they did willingly. Now remember, my point to this whole conversation is truth. Yes, it done happen. That's history. Fine. This is 2025. My point to this whole conversation is that people need to just admit to what happened and just move forward. If we keep denying the truth or we keep denying what really happened, it's just gonna cause a difficult future for everybody. You're gonna create a lot of envious behavior, a lot of envious mentalities, and we're never gonna come to the understanding like, okay, fine, this is history, this is what happened, this is where we are now, and we're supposed to be better. We didn't, we never used to look at African people like humans, but now we do. You know what I'm saying? We realize that the Bible is the one that tricked us to think that these people was not real people. Because because Noah told Ham his son Canaan, got all his son Canaan gonna be slaves. And as you can see, this is what they used during African slavery. Right? So he said, dear patriot, are some of the principles that we must apply. You will find the other books. Remember, now there's other books teaching you how to manipulate African people, how to treat them, how to raise them, right? Which they will given to you at the end of the conference. Evangelize the Enners so that they will stay forever submissive to the writer, to the white colonizers. Now, if you pay attention, that part kind of it said that Enners will be forever submission to the white colonizers. If you really think about it, look at black people today, look at African people today. No matter where you go, Caribbean, Africa, even in America, it doesn't matter where you go. Black people have a very submissive mentality. I'm not saying all of them do. Of course, there's not all, but the most have a very submissive mentality and love for the white colonizers. They just have it. And we're not speaking in the terms of like, a war perspective or a hatred perspective or anything like that. I'm speaking in the sense of, you know, we don't have a backbone to feel as if we can do something for ourselves. We look up to them to solve our issues. But that comes from the indoctrination of the religion and the slave mindset, and it's been pushed into certain propagandas here and there. Because like I said, every couple of years they do a Jesus sacrifice to remind the black people or to trigger the black people, aka African people, that you belongs to us and you guys are gonna do what we say. Now the trigger might not be direct, it could be indirect, or it could just be a physical action where everybody can see. And guess what? They promote it so everybody can see on social media. You know what I'm saying? All right. So they will never revolt against us. The resistance they are undoing. Recite this every day. Happy to those who are weeping because the kingdom of God is for them. That's crazy. Now we have more, but I'm not gonna go through the whole thing because the next part, the second part to this, it goes in where he talks about how you should keep how you should keep the women dormanted, basically, so they don't never ever have the ability to. You know what? I'm gonna read it. I'm gonna read it. So let's keep going. He said, "Convert, convert always the convert always the blacks by using the whip. Keep their women and keep the women in 9 months of submission, which means keep the women pregnant. Every time she have a baby, get her pregnant again. That's where the breeding process comes in, the breeding farm, right? So they're using black women or African women, keeping them pregnant. So they have to have some kind of breeding farm. They have to have men that was breeding the women consistently. So the women never had the ability to join their men in war or anything like that. Now, before we go forward, I'm not saying that African people never fought, African people never stand up for themselves and push back due to this whole slave mentality type situation. The problem was that when by times they had already broke into, I would say, over there by the Senegal area, the the northern area and them places, they already done slaving those people due to the Portuguese coming in with the guns and subduing those people into the slave mindset. So when the other African tribes throughout Africa get the whiff of the information that this is what they're doing, of course some of them tried to put aid, but they had guns. You know what I'm saying? And the second part to it is that you know, there was fighting back. There was fighting back. They was sacrificing and losing a lot of people to the point where tribes would lose all their men due to the war. Right? They would lose all their men to the point where the women have to now stand up and become warriors, right? Or they have to become the leaders of the tribes because all the men are killed. All the men have gotten killed. So this is one of the reasons why a lot of the women became the next chief or the next ruler over a lot of tribes, or what we call the woman king, even though that's not her title. You know what I'm saying? It should be the woman queen, but it is what it is. But I'm not gonna go too far. I'm gonna leave it there. I just wanted to read that part right there just to show you guys how how graphic this thing can go. Cause he was really graphic. You know what I'm saying? To keep them in dormant. What I will do a part two because it goes all the way into how he treated the to the Japanese, right? But we're not gonna go that far. So I'm gonna end it right here. You guys leave me some likes, share. Don't forget to likes and share. The like is free. I'm gonna finish the rest of this another maybe tomorrow. I would say tomorrow. I'll do a part two of this, and then that way we could get the rest of the letter. and we can go into show you how Christianity played a big part and some of the tactics they was using. Now, what I will try to do, I'll add some of the biblical quotes of how they're supposed to treat the slaves and what they're supposed to do to treat the slaves and da 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 da. And we're gonna break it down. So with that said, like, subscribe, share, and leave a comment, ask a question. Appreciate you guys for standing with me. If you watch the whole show with me, I really appreciate it. For the ones who didn't watch the whole show, still appreciate it. It doesn't matter. I appreciate you just for even watching it for 5 minutes. You could you could always come back and watch it a little later, just to finish it. But this is my research of showing that how Christianity played a big role into the enslavement of African people due to the Bible quoting the curse of Canaan, the son of Ham. And with that said, until peace out. See you guys in the next one.